What is up, everybody? Cornucopia of Craziness back here again. This is kind of an impromptu video because I just got back from watching Batman vs. Superman. I know WrestleMania is tonight, and that review will be coming tomorrow. But since I just came for Batman vs. Superman at the movie theater with my brother, I feel like I have to talk about it. Now, if you guys don't like spoilers, if you haven't seen the movie yet, stop this review. I'm going to give you a few seconds. Pause the video. Exit out of the video, go see the movie, whatever. Just, if you don't like spoilers, don't watch the video yet. Go see the movie for yourself. I'll give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds to pause and exit. Okay. So let's talk about Batman vs. Superman. First of all, I will say this. The movie was way too long. It was... There was way too much buildup. There was way too much buildup before the big fight. And the big fight didn't even last more than 10 minutes. Not even. I was sitting in the theater, just sitting down in my chair, in the recliner chair, by the way, very nice chairs. And I was just sitting there thinking, like, this movie has been going on forever. I had a birthday watching this movie. You really, when you're watching the movie, you really feel time passing by. You really do. That's the one thing about movie pacing, is if you're watching a movie and you feel like time's going by, then the movie's not that good in terms of pacing. But if you watch a movie and you can get into it and just forget about the time, then that's a good movie because you're forgetting everything. You're letting yourself soak into the movie. But because of the time, because of the pacing, because of all the build-up they made, I just could not get into the movie. Just felt really long and felt overblown. Now I'll admit, the storyline with the whole Superman being persecuted because people think he kills people, like during the first Man of Steel thing, where he's blowing up Metropolis with General Zod, and the whole thing in Afghanistan in the beginning with Lois Lane, them shooting the terrorists. Like, okay, that's good. That's good. I like that kind of stuff because it actually produces a good story with Superman, and it makes him an identifiable character because he's a guy trying to do the right thing, as they say in the movie, and he's being persecuted because people are accusing him of stuff. Lex Luthor is planting all this stuff so he can make Superman look bad. And I think that was really, really good. They did a really good job with that. But I just think that they they spent way too much time with it. And they didn't give enough time to Batman trying to build his reasons to fight Superman. Once you get into the fight, you're like, what reason do they have to fight for? Except for the fact of everything they've been saying throughout the whole movie about Superman being accused of doing all this crazy stuff. There's no other reason for these guys to fight by the end of the movie. And plus, the fight scene wasn't even that long. Just like I said before, it was a really, really short fight. It ended very quickly, even though the action was pretty good, I'll admit. But it was too quick. For a movie called Batman vs. Superman, you'd think the fight would be a lot longer. You'd think they would actually do more with the fight. Like, I know at one point Batman tied him around this little chain, like his little grappling hook, and he tossed him around the church or whatever it was. That was cool. I wanted to see more of that, but no. They leave the rest of the movie to just a bunch of political stuff. Like Senator Finch, who probably one of the better characters in the movie. They leave all that stuff to them, which I said before, it's pretty good stuff, but you gotta build up the fight. It's called Batman vs. Superman. You have to build up the main fight so it feels actually interesting when you see these two people clash together. Another thing, I don't like how they introduce Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman, like, if you're watching the first few minutes of the movie and you don't really know Wonder Woman's backstory, you haven't read the comics, you wouldn't know that that's Wonder Woman until you saw, like, the second half of the movie. Like, the movie takes way too long in introducing the new characters, like the new superheroes. And at the end, when Wonder Woman's fighting Doomsday, spoiler alert, she doesn't feel all that important. Gal Gadot actually, I don't know how to pronounce her name, Gal Gadot or Gal Gadot or whatever, she actually does quite a good job with her playing as Wonder Woman, but they didn't build her up enough to make her seem interesting, at least in my opinion. Like, you guys can have a different opinion. You could think the movie's great. I didn't personally think the movie was great. I think it was a little long. Mediocre at best. Well, not exactly mediocre. It was average at best. But Wonder Woman, at the end, they barely talk about her character until, like, the very end, where they show the little picture of her in, I think it was World War II, World War I, whatever. It was an old picture. And they don't show her enough as Wonder Woman. I just wish they could have done a little bit more. There's really one good thing about this movie, though, I have to say, is Ben Affleck. Like, everybody thought that he would be a bad Batman, but I have to say that he actually did a really good job with it. I think his acting was great. His Batman, like, you really felt his convictions towards fighting the Superman, who he thinks is going to kill, like, thousands of people, millions of people throughout the whole world. You really feel that conviction in his head. And I think he actually did a really good job. I feel bad that I ever, in my head, criticized Ben Affleck for being casted. But one person that was casted horribly, and this character almost took me out of the movie completely, was Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor's acting, the actor who played him, the acting in this movie for Lex Luthor was garbage. It sucked. That was not Lex Luthor. That was not Lex Luthor. He played Lex Luthor, who's supposed to be like a suave, rich guy, who is kind of insane, but you don't see it right there, right then. He plays it as if he's the freaking Joker. No! You're not supposed to know that he's insane until, like, a little bit into the movie. Like, towards the second half. But this guy, oh no, we have to make him insane for the whole movie until the very end. Well, he was still insane by the very end. Jesus Christ. Why? Why did you cast Jesse Eisenberg, and why did you write his character that way? Lex Luthor is not supposed to be some crazy Joker guy who goes tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock whenever he hears a beat. No! Lex Luthor is supposed to be calm, he's supposed to be collected, and insane when he needs to be. He's not insane all the time, like how they portrayed him in the movie. And after all this, what do they have at the end? By the way, if you haven't stopped watching the video by this point, stop watching now. Because this is going to be really big. It's going to be probably the biggest spoiler about this movie that you're going to ever see if you haven't seen it yet. So, if you haven't stopped watching, stop watching now. To top all that long build-up off, that short fight scene, Ben Affleck's good performance, Jesse Eisenberg's terrible performance, what do they have? Superman's dead now. Superman killed himself by stopping Doomsday. Now, what's Lex Luthor supposed to do? This is coming from a guy who hasn't really read the comics yet. I really don't have the time and energy to read the comics right now, but holy crap. In terms of the movies coming in the future, what does Lex Luthor have to do now? There's no Superman, at least not yet. But what are they going to do for Justice League now? They showed Superman at the end when he was in the grave as Clark Kent. They saw him about to rise up at the very end, like just slightly. But now the whole Justice League movie is going to be about explaining how Superman comes up, and it's not going to be about Justice League anymore. It's going to be about Superman rising up from the grave. It's not going to be about the Justice League forming. It's not going to be... There's going to be too much build-up in that one, too. And the thing is, with these Zack Snyder movies, is that there's way too much. There's way too much, and it's just... Ugh. By the time the fight scene came up in Batman vs. Superman, I was just bored. I was bored out of my mind. Hey. My legs were cramped, and it was just... at the end, I just didn't care anymore. But, you know what? It wasn't bad. Like, it wasn't, like, terrible. It wasn't a franchise killer like Terminator Genisys was. Terminator Genisys was a complete franchise killer. That movie was convoluted as hell. It made sure that no other Terminator movie and no other good Terminator movie can be made again. But Batman vs. Superman is not a franchise killer. They could still make something good out of this if they just try to make something good out of it. What they need is they need the good writers, and they need good stories, and they need everything across the board. The acting in this movie, Batman vs. Superman, was pretty good, except for Jesse Eisenberg. But that's beside the point. You could make something good out of this. Especially with Ben Affleck. I think Ben Affleck was probably the best character in the movie. I liked his story. I liked everything about Ben Affleck's Batman. Jeremy Irons, I will say this about Jeremy Irons. He was okay. I felt like Jeremy Irons, his Alfred was kind of underused. They could have done so much more with him. His Alfred, he was kind of just there to say philosophical stuff. But Jeremy Irons is a good actor, and he gave a pretty good performance of what it was, so I'll pass on him. But he better be in the Batman movie, though. Speaking of which, Batman, that movie is supposed to be directed by Ben Affleck. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing that one. That one's going to be good. There's no doubt in that. Well, I can't say there's no doubt in that because we don't know yet. I'm probably going to see Suicide Squad 2. It could be decent. I feel like Suicide Squad is going to be hit or miss. Like, it could be good, it could be bad, because we don't know how Jared Leto's Joker is going to be. We don't know if he's going to be just, like, over the top, just crazy, like, just forced down your throat with how crazy he is. Like, he has damage on his forehead. How over the top, just, like, shoved down your throat can he be? Or he could be something that we're not expecting. He could be like Heath Ledger, where he's, like, really, really good, and one of the best performances in a superhero movie ever. We don't know that yet. But unlike Terminator Genisys and Transformers, which, by the way, is also a very long movie, all of them, with this movie, as it says on Superman's chest, there is hope. There is hope that the DC Universe will be redeemed. There is still good that comes out of this Batman Superman movie. So, I don't necessarily recommend that you watch this movie because you might be bored by it, depending on whether long build-up invites your attention or not. But, you know what? It wasn't terrible. It wasn't, like, overwhelmingly bad. It was flawed. But would I go see it again? No. But I'll probably buy the Blu-ray. just to watch it again so I could, when I go see Suicide Squad, I actually know what I'm watching. I know they're going to mention Batman in the movie. I don't know if he's going to be in it. I don't think he's going to be in it. But they're going to make a Batman solo movie, and it's going to be... I don't know if it's going to be decent or if it's going to be bad, depending on how the studio wants Ben Affleck to do it. But I think Ben Affleck is going to do a good job directing. Certainly better than Zack Snyder. But, you know what? Overall, it wasn't bad. It wasn't terrible. I mean, I give this movie about a 5.5 out of 10. There was good things about the movie, and there was bad things about the movie. So I'd say it's about average. See you guys later. And there will be a good WrestleMania review tomorrow. I promise you that. And also there will be a Raw's Cornucopia after that, which I think will be pretty good because it's a Raw to WrestleMania and it has to be good. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.